I have an interesting question for you. What do you think silver will do if Trump wins the 2024 election? Would it rally? But what if someone like Kamala wins? Well, that's exactly what we're going to discuss in this video. But fair warning, there is a chance you might not like the answer.
Connection established.
Alright folks, we have one of the more important and relevant topics to discuss in terms of where gold and silver are headed. This is an article titled, "How Will the Election Impact Gold and Silver?" This was posted 2 days ago. I briefly did talk about this last week or a week and a half ago, but that was before Kamala was the official nominee. That was back when Joe Biden was still strongly mentioning that he's going to stay in the race. So the tides have changed, and this is a completely different discussion now. So we're going to break this down. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. I love articles like this, and actually this article is a lot more thorough than the last one, and this one's more interesting because he talks about Kamala, right? What if Kamala wins? What if Harris wins? So this is a completely different type of video than the one I did previously. Now, I did want to mention, I posted a video earlier today. This is my mom's GoFundMe. She's actually getting her 4th surgery on Monday, battling breast cancer. She's been cancer-free since 2021, but she's going to be out of work for over a month. And that means she's going to be screwed in terms of her rent. I've been helping her financially since 2021, but it's very hard, especially since I have my own bills and I'm taking care of my daughter. So my bills are already through the roof, and I feel horrible. I can't take care of her completely. I figured the least I could do is share it with you guys. So if you wanted to donate, the link's in the description of the pinned comment. We already have like 442 dollars donated within like the first hour and a half since I mentioned it briefly. So my mom's already like about to cry. I mean, you guys are something else, man. Like when I say I love you all, it's genuine. I'm not just saying, oh, I love it's very genuine, and you guys have affected me a lot more than you probably realize. So thank you. But anyways, let's jump into this video. How will the election impact gold and silver? While this year's presidential election was always going to be highly charged, the events of the past 2 weeks have really shaken things up. First came the assassination attempt against Trump, and then came the sudden announcement by President Biden he was dropping out of the race after strenuously denying that he was going to drop out. Now we're faced with Vice President Kamala Harris facing off against Trump, with the Democratic VP pick likely not to be announced until Democratic convention. To say that things have been turned upside down in the past 2 weeks is an understatement. And it's very shocking. It is very, very shocking, especially when you see like Netflix donating millions of dollars to Kamala, a lot of people endorsing her and donating. It's just very interesting. We all thought that she would be the worst, she would be the most likely candidate to be, trashed on, or I guess with the lowest amount of support or votes, but she's not even getting voted in, so that's a whole other situation, a topic. But we're not going to go political. We're just going to be talking, in this video, we're going to be talking about which candidate winning would affect the price to what degree. Now, Harris has received a bounce in the polls, no doubt, due to happiness that Biden is finally out of the picture. But will that honeymoon last? And more importantly, from our perspective, how will the outcome of the election impact the prices of gold and silver? I'm so glad that's what they're focusing on. The last article that talked about this, they weren't really getting to that question or looking into it as much as I wanted. This is what I want to talk about, right? So here's the key takeaways. Gold and silver prices grew far more under Trump than Biden. Gold demand is stronger under Democratic administrations. The Fed's likely response to recession is to ease monetary policy, which is considered good for gold and silver prices. But what if Trump wins? Since a lot of prediction markets still expect Trump to win the election, Let's take a look first at what might happen to gold and silver if Trump gets elected. Many people speculate that a Trump win would be good for the economy as he would institute pro-growth policies, lower taxes, etc. And if the economy gets stronger, people are less likely to want to buy gold. Gold sees its strongest demand when people are uncertain about the future, fearful of the future, and expecting recession or some other economic malice. So you normally might expect the gold price to then rise less under a Republican than under a Democrat. And that is a good point. And this is the very interesting part about being a silver stacker is like, it's not that we're hoping things get bad because that would in return make, the prices go up. It's more that we're expecting it, right? Some people say, well, a lot of people want things to get bad, so or we get happy. That's probably the better way to put it is we get happy when things get worse because that makes our investment go up. But it's not the case. We are expecting it to, and and we see the inevitable outcome, and that's why we're preparing. Gold sees its strongest demand when people are uncertain about the future, fearful of the future, and expecting recession or some other economic malice. We know that is exactly what's happening. However, if you look back at gold's price performance, it rose 53% under Trump. So far, under Biden, gold's only up 30%. Silver's performance is similar, having risen 51% under Trump, but only 13% this far under Biden. While past performance is no guarantee of future performance, there's certainly reason to hope that under another Trump presidency, both gold and silver might see better gains than they saw under Biden. Now, what if Kamala wins? It's a common belief that precious metals are in greater demand under Democratic administrations than under Republican ones. And the statistics seem to back that up. The World Gold Council, or the WGC, recently published its analysis of the election and showed that demand for gold bars and coins has doubled under Democrats. U.S. mint gold coin sales are stronger with a Democrat, and demand for physical gold is stronger under Democrats. Since many gold buyers skew conservative and since Democratic policies are harmful to the economy, that could explain why gold demand is stronger under Democratic administrations. And that's a very interesting point. Let's say if Kamala does win, people would be freaking out, which in return would push people towards safe haven. If Trump wins, they might be a little more calm, right? We might be a little more optimistic, meaning people would still be putting their money in stocks, etc. So that is a good point, right? That is a very interesting point. So in that sense, we might expect to see gold demand pick up even more if Kamala wins out of fear of the future. But if demand is stronger under Democrats, and stronger demand often translates to higher prices, what explains gold's significantly better performance under Trump than Biden? That's a good question. Certainly, COVID played a role as both gold demand and prices increased significantly in 2020, but COVID doesn't explain everything. And actually, in March of 2020, silver was $11. So that's a very loose statement, depending on what part of 2020 you're looking at. But if you compare pre-COVID part of Trump's term from January 2017 to January 20, through the first 3 years of their terms, the gold price increased 28% for Trump, but only 9% for Biden. So obviously, there was something there that helped boost gold under Trump. Even though the economy was strong and stock markets were soaring, conditions that would normally be seen as conducive to lower gains for gold. And, I feel like there's so many other variables. You can't just look at who's in office when the price does something. Other outside variables, geopolitics, so many other factors. It's not as black and white as when this person's in office, it does this, meaning that. There's a lot of other factors and variables, but it is interesting to look at. So, with high inflation and a faltering economy, gold didn't fare as well under Biden, although it did hit multiple all-time highs. So should we expect muted performance if Kamala wins and for gold to take off if Trump wins? What is likely to happen? In all likelihood, gold is going to do what it's going to do regardless of who becomes president. I like that they did mention that, but the policies and the potential threats in terms of geopolitically, economically, fundamentally, everything is going to. I feel like it's easy to say it's going to do what it's going to do, but I do genuinely feel if Kamala wins and the amount of danger we would be put in, it definitely would affect it more than a normal election. A lot more than a normal election, just because the stakes are so high right now for America. There's a good chance that both gold and silver are going to increase in price regardless of who gets elected, which I do agree with. I think more so gold would be the one that would be affected more, because gold solely benefits in times of economic uncertainty. It's a monetary metal. It's strictly stuck to monetary, financial things. Where silver, it's industrial as well. We know the silver shortage is getting much, much, much worse. So it's not just stuck to economic uncertainty. There's other factors and variables as well. That's why I say it's more gold that is stuck to the economy or what's going to happen. So the U.S. economy is facing significant headwinds with continued elevated inflation and a weakening labor market. Markets are now starting to price in a near certain Federal Reserve rate cut in September. Rate cuts and easy monetary policy are generally considered good for gold and silver and beneficial to pushing up their prices. The last two series of major rate cuts began just before the dot-com bubble collapse and the 2008 financial crisis. If the pattern holds and the next rate cut is the first in the series, it could mean that the U.S. economy is on the verge of a recession. And once the recession begins, that could boost demand for gold and silver and send prices soaring. Whoever the next president is won't be able to stop the next recession, which is a good point. The cake is baked in already, just like every recession before it is. It's the result of overly loose monetary policy, malinvestment of resources, and a subsequent credit-induced boom phase that will eventually give way to bust. Just like 2008 and the dot-com bubble before it, the next recession will be a crisis that will have to ride out. The difference between Trump and Harris could be between how they react to the crisis and the type of pressure they put on the Fed to intervene. You would certainly expect Harris, as a Democrat, to push for more monetary intervention than a Republican. But Trump is no ordinary Republican. And if he were to approve an approach to the next recession that mirrored that of 2020, it could end up being just as big as Harris's potential moves. I love this article so far. They're giving so many different scenarios and truly looking deeper than just each party, left or right. They're looking at the person's characteristics, and I really do like this article. This is a very good article. In any case, the next recession appears to finally be on the horizon, something we've been expecting for a while. And the Fed, as a one-trick pony, will respond to the recession with some sort of easing, whether it's rate cuts, quantitative easing, or usually called QE, a combination of the two, or perhaps even something no one really expects, which I'm sure a lot of us are assuming. So how can you prepare with gold and silver? We're not going to go into that. Honestly, buy physical. Just buy the physical. Buy physical. If you can't hold it, you don't own it. Let me say that again. If you can't hold it, you don't own it. If you can't hold it, you don't own it. The SLV is horrible. PSLV is a little safer. Andy Schectman even said the SLV is horrible. PSLV is a little safer. Regardless, if you can't hold it, you don't own it. And it's as simple as that. But what do you think about this? I really do like this article. I want to pass the question on to you now, though. What do you think silver and gold would do? Actually, let's split those two questions up, or those two metals, because they are two. And I guess this situation truly does showcase how different gold and silver are. This is finally a situation that you can see just how different they are. They could do two completely different things from something so simple as this. Silver, I say, is the best of both worlds. Regardless of what the economy's going to do, silver's going to do what it does. And that's what I always mention. That's why I always say, silver is a win-win situation. Gold is simply stuck to what the economy's doing. It's a monetary metal. Silver is, but it's also an industrial metal, so I believe silver will take on a life of its own. I do think that silver will start to detach from gold. Regardless of what gold's doing, silver's going to do what it does because it's used for a completely different reason. Just like regardless of what stocks are doing, stock market volatility is doing, silver's going to do what it does. Possibly even regardless of what the dollar index is doing, silver's going to do what it does because it has many other useful reasons, and it's extremely resourceful, especially as we advance in this new digital technological era. So in that, looking at it from that perspective, given that type of context, I do think that silver is a great investment. And not even an investment, it's a great thing to put your money in. And gold is as well. If we're talking about opportunity, though, silver has much more opportunity than gold. But they are both great for their own separate reasons. You could fit $100,000 of gold in one hand, one or two hands. You can't fit $100,000 of silver even in a shoebox, right? So we're talking about if you're a big spender, then you definitely need both, but they still do have their own. Gold is a tier 1 asset, so you do have to remember that as well. But anyways, what do you think about this? I thought this is very interesting. I will link this article in the description. I'm so glad that this was written. This was written only 2 days ago too. I really like this article. Let me know if you guys like this as much as I do. I just really like, usually if someone's going to post an article like this, they're going to very blandly, surface level, just talk about it. But this guy really went into their characteristics and all the different possibilities and even looked at some interesting perspectives that I didn't even think about. Where was that part? How people potentially could be like if Kamala wins, that could actually benefit because people would be more worrisome that the economy is going to collapse, or how, it just is a very interesting, it's an interesting article. Now, once again, folks, if you wanted to help my mom out, I'll link the GoFundMe. I made a video as well. If you guys wanted to go actually see, the video, I made like a 3-minute video talking about it earlier today, or I'll just post the link. But it really does help. I appreciate you all. If you guys wanted to join the Secret Silver Society, which is a secret membership for silver stackers, every member gets a chance to win silver at the end of the month. We do a silver raffle at the end of every month. The first one is on July 31st, so just 4 days away. Someone from the Silver Society is going to win. There's only like 25 members, so your odds are a lot higher than if you were doing a channel giveaway or entering where there's thousands of entries. So this is a realistic way to win silver. Every month we do that on the 31st of every month, so it's exciting. But also the most fun part is the membership group, or I guess our discussion board. It's live, so all of us are just in the chat talking about all different types of stuff. You can put pictures in there and links. A lot of people are showing their stack or linking to crazy articles. So it is fun. It's a lot of fun. Patreon.com/SilverSlayer. There's 2 tiers. Basic members get 1 raffle ticket per month, and elite members get 2 raffle tickets per month. So it's a way to support the channel and just be in a personalized environment where you can hang out with all of us. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thanks so much for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.